Okay, everybody, this is Sheets, and I'm going to be going over the MMA card for this evening on DraftKings. Pretty busy day for a weekday. There's the NASCAR All-Star race, which we're going to do a video on shortly. And we're also have the big MMA slate, which is going to be on Wednesday this week instead of over the weekend. We have more NASCAR coming up this weekend. We have PGA. So lots of stuff to keep us degenning until baseball and basketball come back within about 2 weeks. Those those salaries are already up in the lobbies, and they will be probably the most researched slates in the history of daily fantasy sports, because people have weeks and weeks to philosophize and strategize and projectionize and whatever else. But so far, doing very, very well with these ancillary sports, and really, really enjoy them. Each of them provides their own different challenge with respect to lineup construction, and that's what makes it fun for me to figure out how to do this. And MMA is very interesting because DraftKings does a very, very nice job each week, really forcing you to prioritize between the underdogs. You never can get away with playing six favorites in lineups, at least never the 6 that you want, right? So you're always trying to figure out which long shots or which underdogs to put into your lineups, and figure out which particular contests are conducive to which particular long shots. Last week was very interesting, and we spent a lot of time in the video discussing how Max Holloway, of those semi-live long shots, might be the best one because he could actually get there and lose. It was a 5-round fight, and he was going to be fighting pretty hard. And even though we liked Volkanovski, Holloway was a very, very strong kind of like loser, if that makes any sense, going in. And it's exactly what happened. He actually lost a very controversial decision. And I believe that the winning Million Maker lineup had both him and Volkanovski, or however you pronounce his name, in the lineup. So, and we thought that could be the case. I didn't quite have it in me to stack them together in a GPP. I just figured you would need to just have more points than that, but worked out that was the way to do it. So what we're going to do is review my lineups for this coming card, and I'm going to go over the same process I use all the time. I have my opinions on individual fighters, but the way construction goes depends in part on these win props. In other words, chances to win, and also chances that they go finish inside the distance, because you want to have fights where you could get that first round knockout. So the greater the odds that happens, the better a play it's going to be. And there are a couple of long shots that I'm going to have to use, and I'll show you how I prioritize those as well. So the first thing that we look at is try to find fights that have good inside the distance props. So, like, for example, this first one, Shore and Phillips, under 1.5, over 1.5 is almost a pick on whatever, but actually it's a small favorite to go over 1.5. So Shore at a -600. I mean, this looks one of those kind of an easy play if you can make it. Then you kind of look up and see what other fights fit this, and you see this Bukauskas and Michelitis fight. It's an over-under 1.5 pick'em, so it really rates to finish early. And what's interesting is that the favor is only a 2-to-1 favorite. So this could be a fight where you can identify this long shot. He's only a 2-to-1 underdog, and he's going to be cheap on DraftKings, and it rates to be a short fight. So if he ends up on the right side of that, it's going to be a good way to leverage. So that's another way I'm kind of looking. Then we scroll up, in this one, Chima Sev in his fight is under 1.5, is actually a favorite. And he's a 3-to-1 favorite on the money line. So this seems like a pretty easy play as well. Now, again, you can't get everybody, but this is how you have to prioritize. Here's another one, 1.5 over under. It's a little bit, it's favored to go under actually, 1.5 rounds, and this guy's a 3-1 favorite. So this is another very, very strong play. This one, nothing. This one, not a big deal. This one, not a big deal. And then obviously the main is the main. You get 5 rounds, and it's kind of tough to fade the 5-round fights. So, what's interesting is that here the favorite is only 3-1. So it could be that at only 7,200 is probably going to be one of those long shots that we're kind of looking at. So I'm going to look at my lineups in a minute, but just to identify also the long shots that I kind of like a little bit, there's going to be Lerone Murphy is a decent long shot. This Michelitis, for reasons I just mentioned, is a decent long shot. And also Ige, as I mentioned, or Ige, how we pronounce him, in the main event. And the other main stand I'm taking, well, this one, Luigi, I mentioned Luigi as well, decent long shot. And this fight I think is kind of intriguing. I really like Fishgold as a +120. That's not a huge long shot, but I really want to play a decent amount of him, but also play some amount of Jared Gordon also. So with these types of opinions, how can you create these lineups? And I do feel as though people play too many lineups in MMA. I mean, they feel as though they have to get both parts of every fight, and that really just dilute your opinions. And so I have some pretty strong fades of some of these fights. I'm going to have 0 of this Elliott fight. I'm going to have 0 of a lot of players, of a lot of fighters. I'm not going to hedge. I'm going to just take, like, the only exposure I'm going to have in this Belbita fight is either nothing or Jujua. I think she's a live long shot, and I don't really want to play the other side of it and just kind of dilute my opinion there. And I'm also, I'm going to play almost all of Chimanev for reasons I just mentioned. It's 1.5 prop and huge favorites, basically going to throw them all over the place. And I'm not going to play any John Phillips. It seems, a lot of people like to do this. They'll play, who they think is like kind of a lot, and then they'll put it in those just in case lineups. I really have the belief that those just in case lineups are just really just negative EV. Unless you have a really strong opinion on them, that, let's say, for example, like last week, we thought that Proshikov Ozdemir fight, we knew that it was going to be a quick one, but we just didn't know who was going to win. So in that case, in that particular fight, I went 50-50 pretty much. Actually, I put a little more on Proshikov because of ownership, and that was really, really huge for us. But aside from that, you don't want to just take both sides of the fight just for the sake of taking both sides of the fight. All right, so let's just take a look and see how these lineups kind of worked out here. You're going to have to see, that you have a lot of long shots that you have to filter in through these lineups. Like my main own guy is Chimaev, and look what you have to do to get him. Also, as I mentioned, the Al Hassan with the 1.5 prop and a big favorite. Then you have Qatar in the main event at 5 rounds. If you want to get all 3 of these guys in, this is what I had to do. I had to take, basically 3 underdogs. Fishgold's not that big of an underdog. It's almost a pick 'em. But then you have Juao's like kind of a mild underdog and a pretty decent size underdog in Michelitis. But I feel as though, the inside the distance prop and just the prospect for, if he wins, it could be a quick one. I think it's worth taking a stand on that type of long shot. And you'll see it's just kind of like filtering throughout these lineups. So Murphy, again, as I mentioned, is kind of a live long shot. But this one, I got my Jack Shore exposure. Jack Shore is going to, again, there's coronavirus all over my freaking keyboard now. Big -600 favorite, you want to get a lot of him. So to do that, you get Qatar, and Chimaev, whatever, you have to take these long shots in there. Hold on again. Oh my God. This is going to be really bad. So Dan Ige, he's another one I mentioned, in the main event, 5 rounds. It's possible he takes in the full 5 and gets enough points to even lose and have him be in your winning lineup. And if I do that, I pay him, go for him at 7,100, then I can afford Shore and Al Hassan and Michelitis. It's almost like this is kind of like a stars and scrubs type lineup where if I want to get those 3 or 4 studs, I need to just gamble on those 2 long shots. And then there's several ways to play. I mean, some people will just, take their top 3 or 4 favorites and just sprinkle in every long shot. I'd rather just take my stands as well on those long shots. This lineup here with just Ramos in it just seems like kind of a waste, just to throw one lineup in with Ramos just for the hell of it. So I might change that to something else that fits what I want to do. This was just a hedge against, who needs it? That was just in case. I'll be more than happy to go 100% of that guy. So let's change that. And as we kind of scroll through here, you see what I did in all of these. I mean, you have the same guys. I mean, Chimaev, Murphy's your underdog, and I just some underdog. I did play some Gordon. As I mentioned, I'm going to have some of this fight in almost all of them, Fishgold and Gordon. I'm pretty sure I like Fishgold the most, but I am going to hedge a little bit with Gordon here. But aside from that, not a lot of hedging. I'm picking my guys and just kind of just making sure that if they win, I hit, right? All right, so Rivera, he's another one that, maybe I don't need. So, I mean, just a 1.7% dude, I don't think it's going to do it for me. So why did I do that? It was probably, again, because I wimped out and didn't want to go 100% somebody. Let's just see. No, not really. This was, I guess this was to fill a lineup or something. I could do, since I have so much Jua on one side, I'll make this one lineup with Zelbita as opposed to I had. Actually, no, because that. Okay, so if I did that, then I'd have to know. Let me see. Do I need this hedge? See if I did that. It would be a hedge against that position, and what I would get for that is I have to go to a fight I'm not even a part of. You know what I could do with this one? I'll tell you what I could do with this one. This Rivera lineup is just a little annoying. I mean, I'll just get rid of it completely. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. I do like Rivera a little bit. Is this worth it for this one lineup? This lineup is pretty crazy, right? It's got Qatar and Chimaev, but everything else is just kind of fishy, right? Gordon, Murphy, Jua, and Rivera. All right, maybe that can win. Whatever. So I'll keep that in. And also these 300 on the table. That's like kind of one of those sneaky lineups that has a shot. And that's and I got one Stanman here. So this is it's a little fishy here. Like the one McCann lineup. Is that a tiny opinion on McCann? I'd almost rather go 0, or just eliminate the lineup completely. But we'll just keep him in just in case. I mean, Stanman, it's just not good. Maybe it's fine. We'll keep those in. We'll throw the money away, I guess. But I don't know. I don't know why I'm struggling so much over this one minor point. Whether I want 2 lineups here just to be like have these one-offs that it's not part of any other kind of construction. This is the Boussakis. This is the hedge against the that fight. I guess this is fine. So this is a nasty card. I mean, it really is from a pricing perspective. You want to get these good guys, you really have to get these long shots right. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. If I do get them right, I mean, it'd be nice to have get a couple of these long shots or these underdogs home when all you need is some favorites at the end of the card. So that's pretty much it. That's all I got for the MMA. Just so you guys know what I'm playing. There's going to be, looks like I have 20 entries. No, not even 1, 2, 3. So it's going to be 10 entries in the Millie Maker, and then I'm going to have 3 entries in the 3 max. Oh, here we can diversify this a little bit. All right, I'm glad I caught this. So this one I could diversify a little bit. It's got a little bit too much. So let's get rid of some fish gold and see if what I can get for that. What I'd like to do is, so this is what I'm going to do. I could either put another Standman lineup in and get a little more exposure there, or I could go with Santos to offset my 1 McCann lineup. So let's get a little more Standman, okay? Just for fun, and we'll diversify this other Millie lineup that way. Okay. So we're gonna have 3 in the 3 max and 12 entries in the whatchamacallit, in the Millie Maker, and we'll see how we fly. That's it, and I will catch up to you later.